Emily Venters, welcome to the Running Effect podcast. How are you doing this afternoon?
Thanks. I'm pretty good. Yeah.
What does a normal summer look like for you? But I feel like every summer has probably looked different from high school to college and now as a professional runner. So I'll ask you this. What are
Yeah.
some of your favorite things you've done this summer thus far?
I mean, summer's a lot different now that I'm not in school, like while you're in school, like summer's just like finally the time you have like a couple months off of like free time, but now it's like I don't know, the whole year kind of feels the same in a way, except for that it's warm and sunny and I love the sunshine and the warmth. So I love summer running. That's always just been something that I loved about summer. Let's see. So far, I don't know. I haven't done like that many things. I guess I've been home a couple times. Just little day trips, like up to the mountains, to the lake around here. Um, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of the same as it is all year, I guess.
You're a successful runner overall, but I feel like in college you were specifically, maybe I'm wrong about this, correct me if I am, but I feel like you were always like lights out in cross and you were a really good cross country runner. As so many people know, summer is the time to get serious if you want to have results in
Mhm.
November. Like you can't get serious in August. For our
Mhm.
audience, a lot of whom is high school collegiate runners going into their season, what would be some pieces of advice on how to level up your running? I think so many people approach the summer or the winter, the off seasons with like kind of a fresh mentality of I can go to the next level. What would you say to them? How do they do it?
Yeah. I guess a couple things like obviously summer is a great time to like focus on getting the mileage in and just building like your aerobic strength, building like that base quote unquote consistency mileage. Running is not like running training isn't always a secret. The more you can run and be consistent with, the better you'll get. So kind of like looking at summer as just like a way to just build like that solid base for cross country, and then when you start to build in those workouts, you just already have that strength under you. So that's a great thing to do in the summer. But secondly, I think just allowing yourself to kind of mentally just like decompress a little bit and have that time off because once you start going in August, especially in the NCAA, like it's just go, go, go. And there's always another meet coming up. So it is nice to have that downtime to just kind of like take a fresh breath of air, and do some other things that you might not have the time to do.
Looking back on your time in the sport of running, is there a most memorable summer of training?
I don't know. I have a couple of them, I would say, but I feel like the summer going into my senior year, or I guess my final year in the NCAA, so summer 2022 was probably like one of my favorites. I just was running like every day with one of my best friends, Keela, who's also on the team, and we were just grinding out a lot of long, fast, long runs, Jeremy Ranch, getting up, just putting in like our highest mileage summer ever, but like also just having fun because, like I said, she's my best friend, and just getting to share those miles together like meant a lot. And we were like, this is our last year, like let's see what we can do.
First year as a pro runner, you kind of opened up on social media, I think like 2 weeks ago, about how it went. For the podcast sake, assuming people haven't seen it, can you share first year professional runner takeaways, lessons, etc.?
Yeah, it's been a lot. I think going into it, I wasn't really sure what to expect, and I kind of knew that this might happen. I felt like my last year in college, I had finally figured out how to have like a really good balance in my life of running and being an athlete, and that's how I kind of began to thrive and find success because I wasn't just so like my whole worth didn't feel like it was just hung up on running. So then once I was like, oh crap, like not oh crap, like it's great and it's really exciting. Like I'm gonna get to go pro. I was also like, oh no, like I'm a little bit scared because I don't know what it's gonna be like for me to feel like, now my passion is my job. And so I felt like my worth depended on that. And so like when things don't go well, it's put a lot of stress on me, which is not healthy for me. It causes me to get sick, injured. I mean, a lot of things in my life I've noticed that stress causes, and I know that's a fact as well. So I would say this first year has been, yeah, pretty hard. Like I said, I did open up my social media about just having a lot of depression this year. Um, I mean, I definitely had bouts of it throughout college, but this year has been the toughest for me. I actually almost took this mental health break in the fall when I had first kind of signed with Nike and Union, because I was just feeling very overwhelmed and like I don't know if I can do this. You know, this is my whole life. Like I was just kind of like panicking, like freaking out. And like I said, I almost took that break then, but then I was like, no, I'm gonna push through. You know, that's kind of like a runner's mentality, always like, well, everyone struggles. It's tough. Like I'm just gonna push through and I'll be fine. I'll get better. And there were moments where it definitely did get better, but I think just all along, like there was an underneath part of me that was just like, I'm just really not happy and I'm not okay. Um, and then it just kind of kept getting worse and worse until like the spring. Um, I also got mono. And so that kind of just like put another damp on things. So physically, I wasn't feeling my best either. And then mentally, I already was just feeling down and sad. And so just a combination of so many things just led me to spiral. And I was just like, got to a point where I genuinely had moments where I was really, really scared of like what would happen to myself. And I really just didn't want to go on, honestly, sometimes. And it was difficult, but luckily I've had a lot of people around me who I've been able to lean on and just open up to, who have kind of been my saving grace, I guess, and helping me see that there's a lot more to me and that I don't have to give up. Um, and so yeah, I've now am getting help, more therapy, and I also have a great support system, agent, coach, Paul Moser of Nike, just an amazing amount of support. And so I feel really, really grateful for that. And I'm, looking ahead now, knowing that there are still going to be a lot of hard days where I feel sad, of course, but knowing that this is or I guess just accepting that this is something that has happened, but I can move forward from it and that I've got a lot of support to do so. So that was a lot.
Well, first off,
Um, but yeah, the first year hasn't been the best, but I think that a lot of people have said to me the first year is really, really hard as a pro and it can only go up from there. So hopefully it only goes up from here.
yeah. Well, first off, thank you so much for sharing that and being so open and honest about that. You are such an incredible person. I think I spent like 30 minutes with you last
Yeah,
year at USA's. And obviously, in the back of my head, I know you're a runner, but that's not front of mind. You were one of the most genuine, sincere, kind people I'd met in
thank
those few
you.
days there. So, truly, even from my own perspective and experience, you are so much more than a runner. And I know you bring so many people so much joy. So, thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
all of that. And I know it's going to impact our audience today in a really big way. A question I do want to ask you following up on that is, so many people I think experience these things, but so few talk about it to
Hmm.
even people within their own circle, yet alone on social media and using that platform as a means to talk about your own struggles. What was the decision to ultimately go public, for lack of a better way of putting it,
Yeah.
about these struggles? And how hard was that to hit publish on that post? Did you close the app? Was it scary? And just take me through kind of the process of experiencing these things to the point of wanting to share them and help people.
Yeah. Um, I hesitated a lot with whether I wanted to even say anything at all and post it because I felt as though, I had already shared it with a lot of my close friends and family and coaches, agent, whatever. And it's me. I don't necessarily need for others to know because it's personal. But I felt that, well, one, I was getting asked a lot by people, I don't know, like family members, some distant friends, neighbors that I saw when I was home, like, "Oh, are you running in the Olympic trials? Like, how's everything going?" And it's like, I I just felt like almost in tears when people would ask because I felt like I was kind of lying and just like, yeah, things are going okay. Like, and I don't know. I'm not the type of person that wants to lie about things. But my mom was just like, just say you have mono, whatnot. Like it's you're not gonna race. But underneath, it's like, but I want to tell people the truth because if I tell the truth, then I feel like others will respect me more for that. And then ultimately, I felt as though sharing it with other people would allow other people to not feel alone because like I told you earlier, there are so many people who have now reached out to me and said like I felt the same things, know that it will get better. This is really common for a lot of athletes to go through, but like um, power to you for like owning up to it and taking a break and what you need for yourself. And so I just felt as though, yeah, going public with it would make me feel kind of a weight off my shoulders and that people would just know. And I'm okay with being vulnerable about that. Like, yeah, I have struggled a lot. And it's okay. Um, we don't always have to be perfect. You don't always have to be on your A game. And you don't always have to fake being happy. So I think just like sharing it with others, hopefully can allow others to be like, oh, wow, like I'm not alone and it's okay for me to struggle as well.
You mentioned there the conversation with neighbors and friends and whatnot, and wanting to
Mhm.
share the truth when they asked how you were doing. And that's something I hear way outside of running circles. Just more people wish they could be honest about how they were truly feeling. Why do you think more people? I mean, there are times where I'm not honest about it,
Yeah.
so I mean it myself too. But why don't you think more people are honest with themselves about how they're feeling, not just to others, but sometimes to ourselves? A lot of times we feel feelings and then we kind of bury them down and we're like, no, you don't feel that way, when in reality
Oh,
it's
for
like,
sure.
well, that's how
That's
you
so
feel.
common. Yeah. I mean, I've been the same way. Like I remember like let's see, for the like last couple years, every now and then, like my therapist would be like, "Do you think you're depressed, Emily?" And I would always be like, "No. Why are you asking me that? No, I'm not." And I think it's easy to just for anyone to just cover it up because they don't want to own up. Or I guess people see sometimes mental health like, or if you're struggling with mental health as like a failure or like what's going on with you? Like, oh my gosh, you're a head case. And so we don't want to like own up to that and think that we're like a head case or, we suck or I don't know. Mental health is just kind of perceived in a different way sometimes than like physical health is. And so I think it is hard to like accept that or like be honest about it. But when you are, it's then easier to move forward from it. And I think without being vulnerable about it, you'll never be able to fully get yourself to a better place.
Something I do want to discuss as well, an aspect of your story, is the aspect of legitimately taking a step back from the sport. And I think
Mhm.
that's something that so many more people should do, but don't, when
Yeah.
they're falling out of love with the sport or not in a good place. Or I'm sure you've been in NCAA circles, like the crazy examples where people run through injuries and ultimately end up with like
Mhm.
really bad stress fractures and all these things. Can you talk about how important that is? I'm sure there are people statistically listening that are in a tough spot or aren't enjoying running or are on the verge of getting injured if they continue. How, at the end of the day, running is simple. Like, you can take a step back, life goes on. It's okay to take a step back. It's okay to not enjoy the sport periods of time. Even the best of the
Yeah.
best don't.
I mean, that's yeah, again, that's another thing that's very common. I've heard that a lot. Um, and I mean, I've been in the same situation as you mentioned, like people pushing through things, because I think that is the nature of runners. We're built, like I said, to push through things and powered through. Like I think any elite athlete probably is like that. We don't want to take a break, even though sometimes we feel like we should deep down, and it's hard. Um, Maybe when you're physically hurt, it's easier because you like literally can't run or like it really hurts, and you're like, okay, I have to take a break. But with like a mental health injury, I guess if you quote unquote say that, um, it's hard. It's like, well, I'm physically like doing pretty good. I was running high mileage, like I was running some pretty good workouts. And there were a couple moments where I was like, I want to run the Olympic trials still. Like, I'm healthy. Why not? But then it kind of comes down to like, but are if you're going to stand on the start line and not feel yourself, and this goes for like not just me, anyone, and not feel that happiness inside of you, then why do it? Like, don't just show up to show up. Like, I think you're going to run so much better when you feel happy and you feel confident in yourself. It just goes so far. So it's hard to take a break, but I think anytime you take a break, you come back so much stronger after it and so much refreshed and with a new perspective than you had before.
Something you mentioned very early on in sharing your story was the transition from college to pro running, and how in college,
Mhm.
you had more aspects to you, more aspects to your life, and how that kind of transition to pro running, it kind of took up your whole identity. And that's
Yeah.
something I specifically see with high schoolers is even though they have like high school classes, learning about college, etc., a lot of them want to make like running their whole entire life. Can you speak to why that's you probably don't want that to be the case, and why it's actually important to have other aspects of you as a person, not just like Emily Venters the runner, but Emily Venters period.
I think it's super easy when you're really good at something, whether it be, whether it is running or not, or like music or art or really anything. If you have a lot of talent in something, it's hard to not want to be all in on something and just like laser focus on that. Like that becomes your whole identity because you are good at it. It's easy and it feels good to kind of like give your all to something. But then when things don't go your way, it's really sad and you get depressed, and it just is like, well, what am I worth now? So I think that it's important to start at the age of high school, when you're first kind of getting into the sport and realizing maybe, oh wow, I have a lot of talent in this and a lot of potential, to not put all your eggs in one basket. You can still be super focused on it without compromising your whole identity with it. But I mean, I don't really know the answer. Like, I think it's easy to say that, but it's hard to actually do it. People like, I don't know. I mean, I always say it to myself too, like you always have to find things that make you more than a runner. But, I can say that I do that, but sometimes it's really hard.
What are some ways you feel like you've grown through this process? And when you return to running, whenever that is, what are some new things you've planned on implementing that you think will help you in this journey? And is running something you even want to continue? Have you had thoughts about hanging up the spikes? And
Yeah.
also, I'm layering on so many questions, but just feel free to respond however you want to. Like, do you think that's something more runners should consider? Like, I think so many runners just drag out their career when they're not happy. What are
Hmm.
those thoughts around that?
Yeah, I've had a lot of thoughts about that for sure. Many times with my running career, actually. But I think it is normal. You kind of get burnt out sometimes from a lot of training, or if you're not seeing PRs and you just feel like, oh, I'll just be done. But then you get that piece inside of you that's like, no, I need to keep going. I want to keep fighting because I do think that there's more to me. And that's kind of what I've always had within me. Um, or just like that gut feeling that like I shouldn't give it up. And that's why I've kept going. But this spring, yeah, I definitely had more and more thoughts. Like, I feel in a lot of ways satisfied with how my running career has gone. I've made a lot of friends from it. I've traveled to cool places. I've got accolades that I would have never expected in front fast times. Um, and I feel, yeah, happy with my career in a lot of ways. That maybe if I did walk away, I would feel happier and able to focus on something new and a new goal in my life. So, yeah, I thought about that. But I think taking this break was why I took the break to see, is this really something that I still want, or am I ready to move on with my life? And so far into this break, I've realized that I do truly love to run. And I think that I just need to find a way to think about things with pro running and rethink about it in my head, and I don't know, structure my life in a different way that it makes it feel less stressful for me, and that I have other things to lean on and focus on in my life and not just running. So, some ways that I've thought about doing that and that I'm considering are going back to school as well. I have always wanted to go to nursing school. It's maybe a big challenge to take on with professional running, but I'm kind of interested in doing that challenge because I feel that it would give me something else to focus on. It's another goal that I've always wanted to do and achieve. And then once I have that, I think I would feel that, once my running career is over, I have a nursing degree to fall back on, not fall back on, something to look forward to. Like I have another thing to do and I'm excited about when my running career ends. Because right now I don't have anything that I feel like I would be excited to do after my running career ends. So I think that is another stressor. And I think that's common for a lot of professional runners. Like, what am I going to do when my career ends? So having that next sort of like career path to look forward to when it ends, I think can help alleviate, for me personally, a lot of stress. And that my life doesn't just depend on my running. So that's one way that I'm thinking about helping myself with uh, navigating the pro running career. And then also, another thing is just I'm going to start moving to the roads more. I'm going to continue to do track for a while, but I am moving to marathons in the coming years. So I'm going to run my first half marathon this fall in Valencia. That's the plan. And so I'm really looking forward to that, just kind of taking a break from the track. So easy to get caught up in comparing yourself to your old self on the track because, with the track, it's flat. It's pretty much the same. So it's so easy to compare. And if you're not doing well or not seeing progress, it's easy. So I feel like road racing might just be a good way for me to switch things up for a while and take pressure off myself. Um, so I'm going to do that as well. And then just kind of, I guess, overall with structure, finding ways to structure my day to day so I don't feel like my whole day is just free time. Because right now, I mean, that is the life of a pro runner. Pretty much all day, you have like a lot of free time, and it gets really old really quick. And I'm not really good with free time. So when my whole life feels like free, I kind of feel unsatisfied and just like, ooh, like, what am I doing with my life? Kind of like a bum. Even though, yeah, I still run a lot every day, it doesn't take up that much time in the grand scheme of a day. Um, so finding things, yeah, to structure my day so that it feels like I went to work or like I have things going on in my life. Because I think a lot of professional runners can relate with that. We have a lot of downtime and it can be boring.
Why does Emily Venters run, and what are some of your favorite aspects about the act of running?
I run because it makes me feel free. Is probably the best word to use for that. Anytime I feel stress or like I'm having a bad day or I'm emotional, going out for a run always makes me feel better. Usually, there are some exceptions. And then I love running because of the people that I'm surrounded by. I mean, I've met the most amazing people in the running community. I think it's so special. Everyone in it is like, are some of the kindest people I've ever met in my life. Everyone is very encouraging, motivating, loving. Like, it's just, yeah, it's a wonderful community to be surrounded by. And then, like, now being around some younger people, I feel inspired again to just like show them the way because I used to look up to a lot of people who are still running pro and they showed me the way, and so I want to get back to the younger generation as well, and that's something that motivates me and inspires me.
Can you speak to someone listening to the podcast right now who is struggling, resonates with something within your story or testimony that you shared there, and hasn't opened up to anyone? Can you talk to them directly about why to take that uncomfortable leap of faith to reach out and get the help you need?
I mean, for me, like, I'll just say like how it was for me and how I think that it can relate to them. For me, I just felt that not sharing, I would never truly be able to get the help that I needed and get through it, because I would just be masking it every day, and faking my happiness, and it's exhausting having to fake any emotions, or like do something that you should love and you're not really finding love with it. Like, you don't feel happy to go for a run every day, or you don't feel excited to race. So I think without owning up to the emotions that you feel, you'll never be able to move on, and truly, like, I don't know what I'm saying, like, get rid of those emotions, I guess is what I'm saying. Um, So you have to commit to making yourself better, and know that once you do, tell other people how you're feeling, be vulnerable, it kind of lifts a huge weight off your shoulder. And know that there's going to be so many people to support you, and it can feel scary, because I mean, I was scared to tell my coach, and my boss, like, I don't know, you don't want them to think that you're like, I didn't want them to think that I was like faking this or anything, or that my feelings weren't real, or that, I don't know. It's scary. It is, because it's like I said, it's not a physical injury. You can't prove it or anything, and you don't want them to see you as a failure or anything. But know that people don't think of you like that. I think, if anything, it's really powerful, and it shows that, like, but for me, I used to be super closed off too, and I hated sharing my emotions and feelings. But since trying to be more vulnerable, I've just felt it's helped me so much, because I've then been able to like lean on others and accept that love and support from them. So being vulnerable is always a really good thing to do.
Thanks for the discussion around that. I know it'll help so many people. Moving on to maybe some happier subjects and filling out the story of Emily Venters. Let's
Wait,
go
I want
back
to say
in
also,
time.
can I say one other, one other
Absolutely.
thing?
Go
Oh,
for it.
just like, if there's anyone listening and you have felt the same way, like, please feel free to reach out. Like, I'm here to talk. I can share similar experiences. Like, we're running community, we're here for each other. So feel free if you need anything, or if you just want to like share something with me and I can share something with you. Like, I love that.
So nice. Amazing. You're awesome. Let's go back in time to Emily Venter's start in the sport of running. Take me through how you got your start in the sport and what your first impressions of it were.
Okay. So, I guess kind of it first started in elementary school when I did the pacer test.
Classic.
This is how I knew that I was going to be, or like I was told, like, I would probably be a good runner. Um, I would always go until the last guy was going, and I would wait until he would stop, and I would go one more than him. And so I would always, like, I guess, win for my grade or whatnot. And I always joke like I'm the elementary school pacer test school record holder. um, but I would give my all to that. And my grandpa was always like, "You're gonna be such a good runner, Emily. Like, I know that." And my parents saw that. So then I tried track in middle school. I got pretty close to breaking 5 minutes in the mile in middle school. And I was just having fun with it. I was racing in Nike free shoes. I didn't care. I didn't really know, because I was still a competitive swimmer at that time. And I was like, I'm all in on swimming. I'm going to college for swimming. Like, all my friends were swimming. So I didn't really want to do cross country or track in high school. I just wanted to swim. But my parents thought I should try cross country, that I could make some new friends from it, and I would be pretty good at it. So I was like, fine, I'll try it. So I tried cross country, um, and I ended up winning state myself and with my team, freshman year. And that's kind of when I was like, oh, wow, like, actually, I kind of like running better than swimming. It just kind of was more natural for me. I didn't have to, I guess, work as hard at running as I did with swimming, because swimming's a lot. Props to those people, because they're putting in a lot of hours in the pool that I don't think I could ever do that again. Like doubles from the age of like 12 and up. It's insane. Staring at the bottom of a pool so many hours a day. Gosh. Anyway, tangent. uh, I just loved running, and I felt like, yeah, like I said, it just came more natural to me, and I loved my teammates, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. So then I kind of just stuck with that and decided to just go that route instead of swimming, and yeah, since then, it's I guess it's gone in an upward but also downward sometimes trajectory. It's been a journey, but I'm really really grateful for all of it, and I wouldn't change it.
Was there a point where you flipped the switch from merely participating in the sport to then getting really serious about it and dedicating, time and energy to training and getting better? Was
Yeah.
it that freshman year state race where you're like, wow, pretty good at this? Or was there a different point for you?
I feel like it was like after my sophomore year, maybe in high school, where I kind of started to think like about running in college. My coach had brought that up to me. I went to like a summer running camp and got kind of inspired there. So I think it was kind of after that, my sophomore year, I started like actually trying to understand the training, like what it would take, realizing like what NXN was and that kind of stuff. So that's probably, yeah, when I would say I got a little bit more serious. And then by senior year, I was like, I'm making NXN. Like, I want to be one of the best in the US. I was pretty into it by then, maybe a little too into it. I wish I could go back to those years and be like, okay, chill out a little bit. But I did get pretty into it by the end of high school. Yeah.
Looking back on your high school years, what are some of the most memorable experiences or moments from those 4 years in high school?
Oh, definitely winning state with my team my freshman year. Like that's a memory that I will never forget. I think that was maybe the first time that our school had ever won it. And I was just like, the freshman kind of open eyes, like, wow, I didn't really know anything, but there were some amazing seniors on our team. And I loved them so much. And they just took me under their wing. And, they were super excited to end their high school career like that. And I was just so happy to be a part of it. And I don't know. I had no expectations that year. It's like the best year because you're just wide eyed freshman. Like, let's just see. I have no idea. So I think that that's probably my favorite memory of high school.
Take me through your years in college. First, Boise State, then
Yeah.
CU, then Utah to close things out.
Yeah. So college was quite the journey for me. Did never anticipated to do that many years in school. But like I said, while it was a very up and down journey, I've had a lot of amazing parts to it that I wouldn't change. So started at Boise State. Really, my liked it my first year, I would say, mostly. But I never really liked the school part of it there. I kind of felt like um, the academic side, yeah, just wasn't what I wanted out of a school. And it didn't feel completely like a college town like I kind of wanted. But I loved my friends there. I probably one of my favorite years was my sophomore year fall when our team placed sixth at NCAA's. We were hoping to like place in the top three, but we didn't have the best day. But that year is probably my favorite year of cross country, just because the tight knit group of friends that we had who were running in the top seven, and it was a special year. So love that. Then ultimately decided to transfer to CU. For various reasons. I won't don't have need to go into that right now. But went there and unfortunately kind of just like got hit off the bat with injuries, and I couldn't break the cycle. It was just continuous like injury, and then I would have like maybe a month or two of like training, and then I would get another injury. And I really just wasn't happy. I never anticipated to have that many injuries and go through all that. It was tough. And then COVID hit during that, which also made things bad. And so being at CU for 2 years, well, like those are some of the best friends I've ever made. And I made some amazing memories that I'll never forget. It was probably the worst 2 years of my life. And I was about to medically retire. So like I kind of like, I guess I left the team um, for spring of 20, I'm trying to think what year that was. 2022? Yeah, spring 2022. Or sorry, I'm getting so confused from my years. 2021, 2022. I can't remember. I left the team and I was like, I'm just going to focus on school, finishing up. Like, I want to just be done. I don't want to take a fifth year at CU. And I was just going to move on. But then, like, I just kept feeling like there was something in me that was telling me to continue, not give up. Like, just go finish out your NCAA career on a high note. I didn't care how fast I ran. I just wanted to like finish it out on my terms, I guess, and feel like happy. So I ended up choosing Utah. I never took a visit, didn't really know anyone there, never seen Salt Lake City. Took a gamble, but all of my conversations with Coach Kep were just amazing. And I felt just wanted for the person I was, not the athlete. And so yeah, going to Utah was the best decision I ever made. I absolutely loved Coach Kep. I can't say enough good things about him. Like, recommend him for anyone like looking to go to college. Like, I wish I would have done all my years there. He is one of the kindest people. He genuinely cares about all of his athletes as a person before an athlete. And so I just felt taken care of. And I think that's kind of what helped me succeed as well, is that relationship that I had with my coach there. Um, and then as well as like I ended up meeting some more of my best friends at Utah, and I just love Salt Lake City as well. And that's kind of, I guess, a short version of the story.
Bringing things back to present day, looking ahead to your future in the sport, what are some things you want to accomplish, experience? What are your ambitions and mindset for the sport of running right now?
I mean, right now I'm just trying to find my love for running again, which I do think that I'm finding. I have been looking forward to going out for my runs every day. I've actually been running the highest mileage I've ever ran just because, like, I want to. And I think that that's been a really good sign for me. Like, I wake up and feel like excited to go run. And I love that feeling. I miss that feeling. And so for me, like lately, the goal has just been just find like my love for running again, um, and finding more people to run with here. And I've met some more people, and it's been awesome. I love running with people. I don't like running alone anymore. While it's nice sometimes, it's always nicer having people. And I've met just like a lot of amazing people in Utah. I've also now am a part of Rep Run Elite program in Utah, and it's not like an official team or anything, but there's a lot of us athletes from elite athletes from Utah who are part of that, and it's just an amazing community of people giving back to like high schoolers in the community. And I felt like a lot of, I guess, support from that, which has been helpful in me getting back on this journey to finding my love for running. Um, but I guess some goals that I have for myself are to continue to have fun with it, love it, and then just see what I can do. I mean, I would love to eventually make a world championship Olympic team. That was my dream for this summer, and I genuinely thought that I was going to be able to do it back in the fall, before things kind of like really took a downward spiral. So that's a huge goal I have for myself, and I truly believe that I can get there at some point. I just need to be in the right mindset again, and so yeah.
Emily, final serious question for you. For those who have listened to our conversation today, what would be the final takeaway message that you want to leave for them?
Oh gosh, that's a
Can
lot
be
of pressure. I
anything,
don't want
whatever's on
my
your
last
heart.
words. um, find the balance with running in your life, and I mean, I know I said that it's a hard thing to do, and I even have to tell myself a lot, but make sure that you're always loving yourself before anything else. Put yourself first, um, and lean on others for support. You don't always have to be perfect. Remember that, and it's okay to struggle. There's always people out there to support you. We all go through it, and it will always get better. So always remember that even when it feels like some days like you're not going to get through it and you don't want to get through it, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and I have to keep reminding myself that. So I'm saying that for everyone too, that
Emily, final question for you. The question I ask every guest on every single podcast. If you had Gordon Ramsay coming over to your house for dinner, what would you choose to make for him?
oh god, he would probably think the food I make is way too salty. uh I like salt, I like sodium, so I add a lot of salt to my food, which is probably not good. So he would probably like, eh. uh I don't know what I'd make for him. I guess I'd make him like some sort of pasta with salmon or something. But
That
yeah, like
doesn't
I said,
sound too
he'd
bad.
probably be like, "This is way too salty. What the hell?"
Oh, I love it. I love it. Emily, thank you again for the conversation and for your openness and sharing your full story and the things you've gone through and experienced. Wishing you all the best this next year, cheering you on, and excited to see
Thank
you make
you.
those dreams come true soon.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.